I will be busting 5 myths about the liver today. My name is Chen Profesorski. I practice naturopathy, Chinese medicine, shamanic healing, and I have 30 years of experience with liver and gallbladder issues, among other things, that I would like to share with you today in a very practical video about things that you really need to know. Now, the first myth is more of a technical one, and it's important to know. The first myth is that liver can be a very painful issue. You know, liver diseases can hurt. In a direct form, the liver itself on the right side of your body, above the rib line, actually, a huge organ, has 0 sensors for pain. So, liver issues can actually go totally painless, and they still can be a very big issue. So, don't wait till it hurts, because you won't know it. It won't hurt. So the first myth, the liver just doesn't know how to create pain. Secondary pain can, of course, be created through diseases like gallstones and stuff, but the liver itself doesn't hurt. The second myth is that if you don't drink alcohol, then your liver's good. There's no way it's going to go and, become diseased. Only alcoholics suffer from liver issues, And that is, of course, not true. It's not to say that you should go ahead and, down your sorrows with alcohol, because, there's no future and the liver's not going to be damaged by it. Yes, alcohol does a lot of liver damage, so don't do that. But even if you are alcohol-free, or you have a nice, call it safe habit, using alcohol at a very small and inner connected level, to the point that the body says it's okay, there are still other ways to ruin your liver, by overeating fats, and especially if they're fried fats and stuff like that. Yeah, you can still burden the liver, and you can still cause a lot of issues. So the liver needs your full cooperation, not just your non-alcoholism. Okay, that was the second myth. Another myth, very commonly ignored as well, is that if drugs are over the counter, then they're safe for the liver. And, you can use them as often as you need. Over the counter drugs are still drugs, and many of them will have to go through the liver to be broken down. So, if you're using over the counter drugs, even simple drugs like paracetamol for a slight fever or pain, these drugs can still do a lot of liver damage. Look for alternatives. There's many good tools in the holistic arena that can help you with a slight fever, or with a slight pain, or with whatever else you commonly use over-the-counter drugs. They can still do a lot of liver damage. You do not want to ignore that. The fourth myth is that there are no real supplements that can bring value to the liver. They're all just junk. They're all just a waste of money. They're even a burden on the liver, because, hey, he has to take care of them. So, it's a bad thing to do, the bad habit, using supplements. That's not true. That is actually a myth, because there's quite a few supplements, well used, well chosen, of course, when needed, that can do a lot of good for the liver. I mean, there's at least 2 I can name, like offhand, they're very powerful tools for the liver's health. The first one, lecithin. It's a very simple emulsifier that the liver actually creates, so obviously it's not a damage to add more of it to the liver. It helps actually digest fats in a better way. It helps expel excessive fats. It's very good stuff. Not in supplement form, that is not in a capsule form, in powdered form or in granulated form. Just add it to your food. It's actually a very fun addition to the kitchen. It creates great recipes. But it's also very healthy. The liver will actually thank you for taking about a tablespoon a day of that and using it within your food. Another example would be an amino acid called taurine. L-taurine is actually a very important element in the liver's functionality. I won't go into biochemical details, but it actually has a very important role to play in a healthy liver. So if you have even the slightest issues with your liver and you add this taurine, you'll get better functionality from the liver. So saying that supplements don't really do much, well, people that say that don't understand much. Sorry. The last myth, perhaps the most important one in my perspective, since I am very commonly caught up in helping people with this subject. The last myth is that gallstones are formed only inside the gallbladder, and that is simply not true. Gallstones are actually formed within the liver. They just can't grow very big there because they're formed within the duct inside the liver, so there's only so much space for them to grow. They'll usually reach the sizes of 3 to 4 to 5 millimeters. 6 millimeters is like huge for the liver stones. And then very often they would drop into the gallbladder where they have the space and very often the sludge to help them grow. There they can reach sizes of even 45 millimeters. Huge stones. Okay? I would actually call them rocks. So why is this important? Why is this myth so worth busting? Because if you understand that there are stones growing within the liver, taking out the gallbladder in surgery means you're still stuck with stones formed in the liver that can still fly into the ducts, block the ducts, involve the pancreas if it's low enough, and actually cause 95% of the issues that stones within the gallbladder can cause, except for gallbladder infection, because obviously if you take out the gallbladder, there's no more gallbladder infections. But all the other issues, which are much more serious than the gallbladder infection, will not be resolved by cutting out the gallbladder. So maybe there should be a different solution to those stones, right? Flush them out. Catch you on the next one. Don't forget to sign up for the channel.